What's up, everybody? How you doing? Welcome back to the Punk Rock Review. Dude, I got an awesome guest today. This is my friend Kevin. He sings for the band Valhalla Cinema. We hang out like pretty frequently. We talk a lot. We hang out a fair bit as well. We live kind of far from each other inside Houston. Unfortunately, Houston's a vast, vast place. But yeah, we're gonna hang out, talk about his band, talk about a little hardcore punk, and hopefully you guys will enjoy this conversation. I'm probably gonna listen more than anything because there's a big blank spot of information that I don't have about some of the early Texas bands. So, what's up, Kevin? How's your week been?
Man, it's been good, and happy belated birthday to Parker.
Let's go. Yeah. He's sitting right here right now playing with some of his new toys. He's got a bunch of
Happy birthday, Parker. I thought about texting you yesterday, but I imagine you probably were busy. So
yesterday was busy, but it was fun, man. We had a good day. It was nice. It was a successful, family day. But yeah, awesome. Man. So your band Valhalla Cinema is a band that, dude, I don't even remember how we became like friendly. Did you reach out to me or something?
Yeah, I reached out to you. I started seeing your show more and more. The first one I saw, you were at the Punk Rock Museum on Masked Intruder Blues tour. And then I guess once you watch something on YouTube, the algorithm works, it starts showing you more. So I was like, wow, this guy's got a lot of content. And it was cool to meet someone in Houston that liked a lot of what I liked. Like you said, Houston's so spread out. Like, which part of the loop are you from? And you and I are like north-south of the loop. So it's crazy that that show kind of brought us together. And your store, your record label, and learning about, he likes these bands. Who's Bullshit Detector? Learning about that, and just all these bands you were talking about. Liberty and Justice. I'm like, I know that band that's from Houston, and so it just kind of fed into more stuff. Like, this guy, this guy and I like a lot of the same stuff. So I think that's kind of how it happened. And then went to shows. We went to Punk Rock Bowling, and yeah.
I think you sent me some of your music, and you were like, "Hey, would you check this out?" And I was like, "Anybody from Houston? Like anybody from Houston?" And I hate to say this to people that aren't from here, but I have huge biases to my home city. So like,
sure,
I'm always down to check out like home state stuff, even like anything from Texas. Like, I'm like, yeah, I'll check it out. Send it to me. And then you gave it to me, and it was like this beautiful record. And I was like, dang. And you were like, hey, we're having this record release show. And
that's right.
It just snowballed, man. We just started hanging out all the time. And it turns out we do like a lot of the same things. And you taught me a lot about some of the. I've always been more of a punk rock guy, but
you taught me about all the. You've taught me about all the Cold Oi stuff and all sorts of new records I have now too. So it's been cool.
Isn't that awesome? That's the best part about having like a new friend.
Yeah, absolutely.
All the like crossover music stuff, because I don't know about you, but it's pretty regular with me when I meet somebody new. It's like, what bands are you listening to? I need to see which ones of these I'm into.
Yeah. You always learning. No matter how long you get along your punk rock or hardcore life, you still learn about more bands, current bands, old bands. So that's the beauty of it.
Dude, the last episode I did was with Rob. He was listening to Clash stuff for the first time. And
I loved it. I watched. That's great. That was great. Yeah.
Well, tell us a little bit about your band Valhalla Cinema, because we're going to be working together here in the near future. And so it's going to be prevalent on the channel even more so than it already is.
Sure. So during COVID, I think a lot of us were kind of thinking like, hey, what the hell are we going to do with our lives, And at that point, I had been kind of out of the music band game for like at least a good 8 years or so. And a friend of mine reached out to me, being the current guitar player, Robo, and he had written a ton of songs during COVID, like 100 songs. And he was like starting to fill me out about. He had a project where he was wanting to do a wrestling EP, and I think he was going to get a bunch of different singers that he had worked with in previous bands. He and I were in a band before, and so I was one of the people I think he was going to work with on the CP. And I started thinking about it, and I was like, man, all this time I haven't done what I loved because I kind of just quit on it because I thought that's what you do. You get to a certain part with things with life, and you quit on them, you move on, you give up on your dreams and things you love because so many things in the world are telling you to do that. And so I got to a place, and then around 2021, when we're kind of coming out of COVID, I was like, my birthday was coming up, and I thought, hey, I'm going to reach out to Robo about those songs and see if him and two other of my friends want to, for my birthday as a gift, just get together and jam songs from bands we like. And we'll send the music out to each other and like, hey, we'll go for lunch after this and make a fun day. But just like, and everyone I asked, starting with Charlie, who is the only one of the four of us that had consistently kept playing music since he was a teenager. And his band, he was in Next to Nothing, which was a great Houston pop punk band. He played in a lot of other bands, but his current band that he does still as well, called Steadfast, had taken a little break because I believe the singer had moved to Portland, Oregon. And of course it was COVID. So I asked him, like, hey, buddy, you've got the PA system and all the recording stuff at your house. Could we, just jam on some Husker Du songs or some, whatever you want? And he said yes. So Robo said yes. And I pulled my friend Jerry out of a 15-year retirement. He used to play in bands in England and like Brit rock stuff. He's like the non-punk dude in the band, but probably the most talented dude in the band. But don't tell him I said that. And so we got together, and we just all had this vitriol, Randy, like for everything going on in the world, not just politically, but with the virus. And so the song that became the full-length album we gave you, although I love the record, it's such a piece of what was going on in 2021. And so it didn't come out to like almost early 2025. So we wear that kind of COVID topic like real heavy, on that record. And so as we're getting that out, we kept making new music, and we started playing, a lot of live shows. We started off the gate like with 2 big shows, probably too good for a band starting out. But we started off with opening for Tsunami Bomb at Black Magic Social Club. The next show was 30 Foot Falls 30th anniversary at the Heights Theater. And so after that, we're like, man, we got to get grounded and get into the real stuff. We got to get into the dive bars, the dingy clubs, the backyard parties. We got to like get back into it. So after that, we started kind of, just sharpening our skills. And then we just started writing new songs, and we're like, hey, we like the record, but let's put some of this COVID stuff to the past, and let's kind of move on to new stuff that's pissing us off. So
always gonna have that.
Yeah.
Always. Dude, that's 2 fantastic opening shows. I knew you did the Tsunami Bomb one, but I didn't know it was 2 back to back like that. Because
yeah, you can imagine like Jerry, who hadn't played shows in like 15 years, or me and Robert like haven't played in like 8 to 10 years, and it's like you walk out, and it's just like, hey, how's it going?
Dude, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So when I heard your music for the first time, it's very evident that you guys are into specifically you are into a certain kind of music, right? But the album in its entirety, it's got a lot of ebbs and flows, a lot of different styles of music in it. So what would you describe your band as to somebody that was just getting into it? If they were like, hey, what is this? What does it sound like? What would you tell them?
Gosh, I'm a hardcore guy. I love like old American hardcore from like 1980 to 87. That's my bread and butter. What I love.
Yeah.
The other guys are like Charlie's a big Descendants guy, more like 90s punk guy, well-rounded. Jerry's a Brit rock, alternative rock guy. Robo likes like death metal and some punk, and so I've always found those are the best bands. Any band I was in that was any good. If you meet with a bunch of guys who are like, hey, we all like the Dead Boys, let's sound like the Dead Boys, the band will suck. I think it's good to meet people that have different skill sets, and then it's hard because you guys all want to get your ideas across. Like this song's too hard, like, oh, it should be more, and I'm like, nah, I don't want a 4-minute song, fuck that noise, that's not what I want, So that's what we are. We're a band that I think that sings about the upcoming apocalypse to the background of, punk, hardcore, alternative music. and maybe a little heavy guitar riffs from Robo and our new guitar player Brandon as well.
You know, it's funny. I'd gotten like, I don't know the word, man. I had been learned what hardcore is to the modern audience, right? And
Sure.
so when I think hardcore, I always think of bands like Terror and Hatebreed, and then heavier, right?
Yeah.
Which really isn't my cup of tea. I do like the two aforementioned bands, Hatebreed and Terror, quite a bit.
Sure.
Specifically, Terror's music is really important to me. But
Yeah.
but like bands like Knocked Loose and stuff, no like trash talk. Like they're
Yeah.
probably
Yeah.
great dudes and they're good at what they do. It's just not for me. So when you were describing your band the first time, you're like, yeah, man, we listen to a lot of hardcore stuff. And I remember listening to it and I had to like readjust my brain, but then it's like reawakened my interest in like actual, like what we would call hardcore, like hardcore punk.
Yeah.
And I forgot there's this entire lane of music, like in between, hardcore now and then like punk. There's a whole lane of music that you're missing out on if you don't listen to that stuff. Like it's
Sure.
But yeah, I
Well,
definitely can hear inspirations from a lot of stuff from within one album with you guys.
Yeah. It was a real slugfest of what went on and what didn't go on, and then of course the content of, hey, is this coming out too far from a post-COVID world for some of this stuff? And then but we still feel the same about those things. So I think it came together good. And along the road we've played with so many great bands, kind of figuring out our sound and what we're doing. And on our very first show, there was a band called Lonesome Haunts that were also on that bill with Tsunami Bomb. And I hear bands like that, as soon as they strike the first chord, they're just sonically better than most of the bands I've seen or heard. And Bart, before all the shows, he'll always say, hey, we're the non-punk band on the bill or something like that, but they still feel like a punk band to me, and
Very much.
So I think these words we use and throw around, like, they encompass a lot of things. And so speaking of that, of course, I don't know if we want to jump into it yet, but of course, we're doing a split with Lonesome Haunts just because of how much we're enjoying playing shows with them. And we're going to co-release it with you, which we're super stoked about because those guys love your show. And I remember sending Bart your video when you wore a Lonesome Haunts shirt on your show one night. Everyone loves it when you wear their shirt from our town. I remember the Bar Rats are one of my other favorite Houston bands. I remember sending it to him like, hey, check out Randy's like playing your CD at his shop and wearing your shirt, and they're super high on that as well. So
yeah, shout out Bar Rats, man. Shout out Lonesome Haunts, dude. Real quick, before we start talking about like any like music history of any kind or anything like that, Lonesome Haunts, dude. There's two schools of thoughts on a split record. People either like it where you have two bands that sound identical, which I mean that's cool, I guess, but I think it's a little boring. Or like it's like a show. You want to go to a show where there's three bands playing and they all sound exactly like the Casualties, or do you want to go to one where it's like some variance, right?
Yeah.
I was incredibly attracted to the thought of this split record because it's just two bands that I like. I don't really think about anything else, right? So I think it'll be an interesting release, just all in general, man. I mean, for anybody that's wondering about Lonesome Haunts, they sound like almost like a 50-50 split of Lucero and the Gaslight Anthem.
Yeah, that's a good comparison.
Yeah, if you like those two bands, definitely check out Lonesome Haunts and Bar Rats. They're not associated with the split, but they're like local homies that hang out and play a lot of shows with everybody we're talking about.
They're great.
I don't even know how to describe that band anymore, man. Everybody said that EP sounded like Rancid, which I heard a couple of riffs that I can say that with, but like, I mean, they've sounded more like Social Distortion to me. Like, there's very rock and roll punk for that radical EP. But yeah, man, we got some good stuff going on in Houston right now, man. I'm really happy that all you guys are playing music.
It's a good time.
It's a dry scene here,
No, it's good. And when I talk to people that used to live here, I love talking to them. Like, hey, now's a good time to be here. So if you come in town, like, we'll try to go see some stuff. There's a lot of good venues now. I mean, when I was a teenager, you had like 2 or 3, and now it seems like there's a lot. And it's good because, like we said, Houston's so spread out in the loop. So it's good to have options to go places.
There's probably like 5 or 6 really good places now. And
Yeah.
I will say I am every time it comes up, I get sad about Fitzgerald's, but like,
Oh yeah,
you
man.
know,
Yeah.
there's 3 places that I spent my entire youth, and that was Fitzgerald's, Mary Jane's, and Walter's, and they're all gone, and it just makes me so sad. Like,
Yeah.
but
Whenever you tell stories of Fitzgerald's, I love it because you'll talk about the landscape of it, like how you're coming down the stairs and the girl threw the glass at you and you ducked and hit your friend. I'm like, I know exactly where he was.
yep. And sometimes I forget that people don't know where that was. So like, it is kind of, and most people don't care. It's not like it's a long story or anything, but it is.
Yeah.
I think it's awesome that somebody from home will know what I'm talking about. But
Sure.
dude, do you remember a band called PWI from way back in the day? Old street punk band from South Side of Houston, back early 2000s, 20 years ago.
I feel bad that I don't because that's about where I'm from. So no, I may have missed them.
That's why I
Unfortunately.
asked, but it doesn't actually super surprise me. They were just a local band, but the other day I was at the store working, and this kid comes in, and he's like
Yeah.
hanging out, and he's talking, and this kid might be 20, 21, 22, and he's like da 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 da, and then he just says something about, I don't know, I must have mentioned something that caught his attention because he wasn't talking to me, and then all of a sudden he like looks
Yeah.
over and he's like, "Hey, have you ever heard of a band called PWI?" And I started cracking up, and I was like, "Yeah, man, I used to fight those guys all the time." And he goes, "Oh, my dad's the singer." And I was like, "What?" And I was like, "Bro, I knew you when you were a baby, dude. Like, I knew that kid when he was a little tiny
Oh,
baby."
that's
Yeah,
awesome. That's
yeah,
awesome.
that's the stuff I love about like
I
punk
was
rock.
I was thinking to ask you if you had met anyone who was a young person who said, "Did you know my dad's band or something like this?" And
That was the first
so
time
there
that
you
happened.
go. There
Yeah,
you go. That's cool.
and that was like maybe a month ago. Well, not long, very recently. That
Cool.
happened. Yeah, it was cool, dude. And then I had a guy. There was a band called Arm in Arm, who coincidentally was the band that used to always get in a fight with that band PWI. But Arm
Oh,
in Arm
geez.
was from the north side, and I lived in their garage. And I haven't seen those dudes in ages either. Their guitar player is the guy that owns that club, The End. So I still know
Wow.
him. Yeah, I know
Okay.
John still really well. But their
Yeah.
drummer, I haven't seen in probably 20 years. And I'm at the store, dude, and this guy's like looking through records, and I just walk over and go, "Hey, if you need anything," I'm in bouncing back and forth between rooms, and
Yeah.
he stands straight up, and he goes, "I know you." And he turns around and looks at me, and we're looking at each other, and I was like staring at him. And last time I saw him, he had a giant mohawk and a bunch of patches all over his clothes, and he just looks
Yeah.
like I look now. And he's like, "Dude, I'm Travis from Arm in Arm," and I was like, blew my mind, bro. I hadn't seen that guy
Whoa.
in years. Just walked into my record store. Yeah.
I was there with you at your store one day where I think your old band with the Grave Robbers, right? One of the members was his wife came in and she was like, "Oh," or
Yeah,
some relation.
I think it was Andy's wife came in. Now, to be very clear to anybody's watching this, I wasn't in Grave Robbers. I just put out their record. It was the first thing I ever
Oh,
did.
my
Like,
bad.
no, it's all good. But they were
Yeah.
from South Houston, and they were really good friends with Ryan from Liberty and Justice, and like those guys are some of my best buds, man. But yeah, dude, it's so strange. Just the weird. I don't know. It's just like this community. If you don't go anywhere, you will have friends forever because there's
Yeah.
gonna be people that never go anywhere, and that's not a diss, man. Like I like
Yeah.
longevity. I don't want like what's the point in having a lifestyle if it doesn't stay your lifestyle? It just doesn't make sense to me. But
Yeah.
you know, all that sappy stuff aside, you have a fairly interesting vocal style. You
Nice.
don't do a lot of yelling. I like it. And at first, I don't know what the word would be to describe how I felt about it. I just wasn't used to it at all. And then after a couple of listens of the record, I really started liking it. And then seeing you guys play live, I thought, oh, it translates really well to like a live setting. So that's
Oh, cool.
that's always a good thing. But
Oh, nice.
where do you get your influences for? Because you do more of like a dude. I don't know. How would you even describe it? There's not a lot of yelling, but you're certainly not whispering.
It's a very compressed vocal because I think when I was a young kid up to on and off until high school, I went to school and lived in another country, and as an American expat kid, and I think just being around people speaking different languages, different the culture too, but I think it affected how I thought of like pitch talking because it's like if you hear someone speak in another language you're not familiar with, it sounds like they're kind of loud and heavy, right? Like,
That's
oh,
true.
what are they talking about? It may just be like them talking about buying a bar of soap at the grocery store, but and so But vocally, I think like a lot of '90s kids, like, when the second wave of punk happened, all the bands you're seeing like Rancid and Green Day and stuff, and these bands, you're thinking like, oh man, like I want to try that. And so like through listening to a lot of music, you just keep trying and trying and trying and trying and trying and just playing. And then, it probably for me didn't come naturally till my 30s in bands where I finally just felt like, oh, kind of pull here. And to my preference, I probably like to scream more, but I guess I try to save it and like save it as like an uppercut, in some of our songs and stuff. Yeah, not maybe burn out the listener too much. But
I think it's a good mix.
Yeah, that's
I
nice.
prefer yelling because that's just kind of music I listen to. But like
Me too.
Right, I like the mix of two because it's not like you're singing like a it's not like a, what would you call those bands, like metalcore bands where they had like a real melodic singing
Oh
style.
yeah,
It's not like that. You're still doing like a punk vocal, but it's got different variations. And you got a booming voice too. You could probably sing without a freaking mic if you wanted to.
Yeah.
But
yeah, not yeah. When we were recording some of the tracks for this EP,
sorry, dude. Parker's in
here.
Oh,
no, somebody say sorry. Hey, Parker.
Kevin says hi. He says hi.
Hey, buddy. Happy late birthday.
He says happy birthday. That got a smile on his face.
Yeah, good deal.
Sorry about that.
We have a new track on the EP called Night Bite, which is my favorite because it's the closest to the records I listen to in a hardcore style. As we were doing it, we were starting to do the scratch vocals at Robo's house, and his dog busted through the door and bit me on the back of the calf right as we were finishing the song because I think I was scaring the dog from getting real loud. And Robo's wife Susan says, he's so loud. He's so loud. And Robo said to her, he goes, "You should be on stage with him."
Dude, that's actually awesome. The dog is like, "Yo, tone it down a bit."
Yeah, he's like, "Calm down."
That's crazy. Yeah, I always get like super nervous when I go to do recordings. Like I could play a live set pretty easily. I could probably still jump up and do a song like a cover song or something.
Sure.
Recording, because you're hearing everything, and you hear a lot of it. You're really naked. You're just hearing your vocals. You're like, "This sounds terrible." People are like, "No, it sounds fine, man." You're like, "No, it doesn't. It sucks." People are like, "Oh man."
This was the one song where everyone kind of let me be because they knew it was kind of like more my thing, and they're just like, just go kill it, like just be. I think I had to rephrase one line maybe, but now on the other songs where they're a little more singer-songwritery, those are like where it really gets to you because they're like, okay, do it more, but do it like this, and then so it's like you said, it gets stressful, like. In a band where everyone has so much say like this with the five of us, like it gets intense, those songs, especially if someone else wrote the song and they want me to sing it how they envisioned it. Then it's like,
well, dude, like when you're doing melodies and things, what's the other word too? There's melody and then there's like within vocal styles, you have melody and then you have something else. When you combine two vocals, just make a that's not melody. The melody is the way the song sounds, but there's it's not harmonics. What is it called? What's it called when you can take two sounds that work together to form one sound? It's called something. I feel stupid right now. I can't think of it.
Tempo, pitch.
No, but you're heading in the right direction. But it's like if you were to sing one note, somebody else was to sing another note, or if you were to double up on your recordings, it would make one sound. But you're trying to do stuff like that. Like if you're not good at that, it's going to be really stressful and hard. But like, this is one of the things when you have 5 people in a band too, you have 5 different preferences, 5 different personalities, and 5 different thoughts of what it might sound like to begin with. You might all ultimately agree, but everybody's probably thinking something slightly different when they're thinking about it in their heads. So
exactly. Yeah, I heard it once said that a band is not a democracy. But it's and I think about this sometimes. I'm like,
dude, I I know people, and I've actually worked with musicians that like, I'm like, how'd you get started doing this stuff? It's like a rap, and they're like, oh,
Yeah.
I was in a punk band, and I got tired of waiting on 4 people. I got tired of working with 4 people. I got tired of 4 other opinions. I'm like,
Yeah.
I understand. While I still prefer the band, I understand that. That makes a lot of sense.
I met Joe Sib from Wax and 22 Jacks, label owner of Side One Dummy Records, back at FunFest in Austin, like 2012. He's an amazing comedian too. That's what he was actually there, was doing a comedy set.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, oh, he's so funny. But to go along with your point, I asked him, I said, hey, you were so good in bands. Like, do you miss doing that? And he's like, nah. He goes, like, having to, like, you know, deal with like the other 3 or 4 guys and stuff. And he goes, like, comedy, it's just me. And it's like, I either succeed or fail on my own. And I said, well, is the community like punk rock with comedians? Like, they help you out? And he's like, yeah. He goes, it's, you know, it's the same as punk rock. Like, it's a good community when you tour. And so I was like, that's pretty good, you know. Like, I kind of see his point.
I watch a lot of comedy and I listen to a lot of it. And
Yeah.
over the past few years, it's gotten a little bit watered down with all the, you know, Rogan stuff and everything. It's just not as underground as it once was. And at one point, I toyed with the idea of doing a 5-minute spot and see if I could hack it. And dude, you think you could come up with some funny stuff, and you may make all your friends laugh. Go try to sit down and write something that you know is funny or at least awkward enough to make people laugh, like on purpose, and then have the courage to go say that in front of a bunch of people you don't know. I couldn't even make it to the place to try to do an open mic. I wussed out, bro. I was like, nope, can't do it. Can't do it.
Shout out to Bar Rat's dad, Matt, who was at the Christian of the Hate's birthday show, but he does comedy sometimes at like Matt's yearly birthday show, and he does such a good job. And I'm just like, man, that's cool. Like, those people that can do that and to have that much charisma and courage to go do that.
Those are 2 very important words when it comes to doing something like that: charisma and courage.
Yeah,
both of those, ample amounts of both.
Yeah.
So, man, I know you're a big hardcore punk guy, and over the past, I don't know, year or so that we've been hanging out, like, it's crazy the amount of things that you'll tell me that I'm like, I had no idea. So, can you give me a little bit, at least from your perspective? Now, this is always what people need to preface this with. From your perspective, can you give me a little bit of the history of like Texas hardcore, maybe the stuff that got you interested in music and why? Because I think that's really what I want to know. Not so much just the history of it, but like the history that attracted you to it, and what made you want to do this. Like, what bands did you love and why? Just kind of give me that oral history of Kevin Hogan's hardcore journey.
Sure. So I grew up, again, most of my youth here and there, some in Houston, Texas, and some in Jakarta, Indonesia, at an expat school and community. And I only bring that up because when you're in like an expat community, even the school, a lot of the grades are together, like a campus. It's not like, oh, we're going off to the high school, we're going off to the elementary, we're going off to the middle school. They're kind of together on a campus, right? For probably many reasons. But so I have an older sibling that's 6 years older than me, a sister. And, you know, sometimes being around her and her friends who are a little older and hearing about music, this is, of course, like, you know, early to mid 80s. Whenever you'd hear the term punk, it was very negative and nasty. Like, it was describing like horrible things, like something you would not want to be, you know? And then I remember my sister would rent VHS tapes at this American expat club, like, and so it would have like all of the Friday night NBC lineup on it, MTV. And as she's going through stuff, she had the Clash's song for Rock the Casbah. I don't know why it took me so long to think about that. And they also had a video for Should I Stay or Should I Go? And in that moment, when my sister kind of mentioned, like, hey, these are punk guys or whatever, I was like, man, like, the Clash look really cool, you know? And I didn't pay it too much attention because I'm a little kid still, like, back to my toys, you know, like, you know, but hey, good to see punk's not this horrible, foul thing that I
Right.
keep hearing. And then, you know, going into the early 90s, as I'm of age of a teenager, one day all the T-shirts changed. As you probably remember, like, gone all the grunge T-shirts, you know, like all the Nirvana, Pearl Jam shirts gone. And all of a sudden, a bunch of bands you never heard of. And, like, the artwork's real cool. And they have stuff on that says, like, making punk great again. And then you see, like, Rancid's T-shirts. And, like, I remember seeing a lot of Grimple's shirts. So,
Yeah.
And I remember when people finally started saying, oh, this is punk, I was like, wait a minute, that's the thing that died, that everyone's like so vehemently like, it's dead, it's just dead. And I'm like, oh, punk's here. And like, then you access what you can access. And so like a lot of people, I'm sure similar to you, you're at school and you see kids with stuff like different cassettes and tapes and CDs, and you start trading it to it and stuff. And so hardcore for me, like right off in the 90s, like when you were with your friends' cars and they had their cassettes or their CD visors, there's of course the Minor Threat CD, right? And it's different than a lot of the other music. It's almost the same, but there's a little something's different. Like they're like really going for it. And as I'm going through the 90s and loving stuff like Lookout Records and pop punk and stuff like that, I start kind of drawing more to this. What I'm learning about is hardcore, you know. And then of course all these great books and documentaries start coming out that kind of like, hey, what you like is cool, but check out some of this other stuff maybe you haven't thought about. And so soon you're learning about, you know, is it cool if I show this book?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So this is American Hardcore by Stephen Blush. And it's a great documentary too on Netflix if you don't want to get the book. This is Danny from Wasted Youth on the cover. And this book, when I was going through it, like I'm like, okay, I know the Misfits, I know Black Flag, but it gets real deep in the scenes, and you find out, oh, there's more books and more stuff, and hey, go check this record out, go check this record out. And so that kind of starts, you know, the rabbit hole for you, right? And you're just like more, and then you meet people that are like deep collectors, and they teach you a lot. Like in 2016, I met Brian Gorsinger of the Nightbirds, and I went to see the Nightbirds played a Fat Record showcase at South by Southwest with it's a crazy lineup. It was like NoFX, Toy Guitar, Jack Garlample, like you love, and Nightbirds, and No Parents, and maybe I'm forgetting someone. But anyways, I got to know Brian from that, and learning from Brian, he was like full on into all these hardcore bands, and you know, just becoming friends with him, I started learning like just about so many bands from his state of New Jersey, and he even was like, hey, Texas has this, and I'd go look into it and research it, and I'm like, man, that's great, like all these places. And then so you just go down the rabbit hole, man. You become a collector of records, flyers, and you eat up as many books and documentaries as you can find. And it's just like, man, there's this whole other world out there, you know, and it's just like, it's there, but you may not know about it because you might not have someone that's like, hey, look over there. You know?
Well, there's like a never-ending well of information, so you're never going to know everything. So
sure.
If you want to know stuff, there's enough stuff to go learn. Like that's what I've learned over the past couple of years doing my channel is that no matter what topic I want to cover, dude, I've done in the past 2 years, I've done 5 different videos on the exact same Clash album, and none of those videos are the same video.
Yeah, like,
that's right. Even if you're just listening to the music, you're going to have different things to say about it. You're going to notice different things. So when you're getting books and documentaries, get record collectors. You're the first person that I ever met that collected flyers. I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, so I love flyers. Is it cool if I do the carrot top thing and keep bringing like props in?
Dude, show everything you want to show. This is what I wanted to hear from you about.
So this is what I love about flyers. Like, of course, I'm not showing you a deep cut band you don't know here, but like, look at this show, right? Black Flag, 45 Grade, DOA, Descendants, Husker Du.
That's insane.
Yeah, imagine going to this, right? And then this is what's even cooler. So we of course have the internet now, right? That's how I reached out to you.
Right.
But back then you had to send a flyer with a self-addressed stamp. Like this is from SST Records.
Oh wow.
Sending this out to like people like, hey, this is my band. Maybe we're gonna come to your town and maybe we can like, stay with you or like play at your club or something like that. So this is how stuff like this is how you get the word out. And I just love that history. Sometimes I'll acquire flyers and it has like a set list too on the back that the band just used, and you have to go hunt down the songs if you don't know who they are. And so it just, I've even reached out to people where like I got flyers to where they've moved on into a normal life now, but they're writing like, hey, I'm like, my name's Tom from Wisconsin, and I'd like to buy your 7-inch, like, and it's on this flyer they sent to, from a band from their town. And it's just all this like, because that's what you had, right? Like you only really know the big bands like DOA, Black Flag, or maybe the Bad Brains when they toured, and like you only know the bands that are kind of coming through your town. Minor Threat when they started getting going, and Misfits and like Dead Kennedys. And so now of course we grow up with those names, we know them, but at the time, like in the 80s and stuff, like this kind of lost history I think is so cool. And I love learning about modern bands, but I really love learning about bands like who started knowing that this music we're playing isn't going to take us to the radio. It's right. We're not going to go make it. We're not going to become millionaires from this music, right? We're doing this because we love it, and the scene is bubbling up all across the United States and Canada and Europe and Japan and elsewhere and all over the world. And we want to be a part of it. And we're going to go meet punk people in other towns and things like that. Like, it blows my mind because, like, when I started playing in bands in the early 90s or mid 90s, like, I'll be honest, I was kind of hoping like, hey, maybe we'll be somebody, like you have a different mindset because you see Green Day and Rancid doing it. Yeah. So I really respect these people, like say like John Brannon and Negative Approach that's still doing it.
Yeah.
And although he did go on to notable bands like Laughing Hyenas, who opened up for Nirvana and all those bands, like and did great things on their own accord. The fact that they're in these scenes and they're just like powerhouses, like I'm gonna go fucking crush it in the state right next to me, just because I want to, and I want to go see the kids there. And there's still some of that now, but that's what I love learning about.
I mean, we're at an age where, especially you, because you have more knowledge than I do. You've traveled more than I did, so there's just certain things that I won't know about. But I love talking to you about this stuff. Every time we hang out, I learn something new about music that I love. It's not as if I'm talking to you and you're boring me to death with stuff I don't care about. We're talking about things that I love, and
awesome.
I've lended you some of my information, but it's all mostly modern stuff. But like, dude, I've learned a lot of history, and I'm figuring out that, at least as a young man, my favorite stuff was like 77 style punk rock and roll. Like that was my favorite music. My favorite bands to this day are still that style of music. But the older I get, the more I realize that like hardcore punk was actually the most real of what I consider punk. It was stripped down.
Yeah.
It was all DIY. There was no ideas of making any real money. It didn't have metal in it. It was just faster punk rock with, I think, a little more, man, what's the word, man? They were like a little more pissed off. They were like a little more like,
for sure,
resentful. They had like more resentment for like the general public. They're like, no, dude. The other punks are like, no, we like getting looked at and like, which I'm all for it, dude. All for it. I'm not acting like I'm somebody that I'm not. But you got the guy who just shaves his head because he doesn't want to pay for a haircut, doesn't want to dye his hair, and he wears camo shorts and either Converse or some boots and a sleeveless, agnostic front shirt. Like that guy's not trying to prove anything, dude. He's just trying to eat and make some music. And,
absolutely.
Well, we all know about these bands that as you were talking about earlier, Minor Threat, Black Flag, Negative Approach even is a, you know, in our world that's a fairly popular band, but if you talk to people out on the street, they might know who Black Flag is. They definitely ain't gonna know who Negative Approach is.
Yeah.
What are some of the bands out of Texas that were
Yeah.
like the early, you know, adapters of like hardcore punk in it? Because I know a few of them, and Austin had a pretty big scene, but there was a lot of stuff coming out of Texas.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's start with our own home state here first. The guy we know, the Christian from the Hates.
Heck yeah.
And so this is actually a real rare record that Colin and Christian, helped me out with. It. Really appreciate it. It's this were 50 copies of this made.
That's crazy.
And yeah, and it's real hard grail to find. But you know, getting to know those guys and like, you know, why they started playing and are still playing. You know, Christian just celebrated his 70th birthday. You know, that's amazing. Bro. It just shows you that it's a spirit. But like Houston has so much good stuff. I mean, Really Red is one of my favorite bands that have put out some amazing records. And the drummer, I believe, is Bob Weber, still runs CIA Records out of Houston, and they still put out like modern music now.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I'd love to meet him sometime. That would be really cool. Gosh, DRI, of course, I think is like one of the big powerhouses because they kind of went to the crossover thing and moved more into the metal direction as we got to the late 80s. But those guys, I've seen them at Punk Rock Bowling a few times doing more of the early set. They just crushed it. Yeah, they're amazing. Man, before I get out of Houston, and I think of the 90s stuff, which you probably saw a lot of too, of course, like in the 90s, going to see Bickley, that was my favorite band to go see live. Me and my friends would go on, it didn't matter, school nights, we got older, work nights, of course, 30-Foot Fall, and, Pony Boy. There's just so many great bands.
Pony Boy.
Yeah. There were so many, like, just great bands from that time. And then even to now, like, there's so much cool stuff now too. But and then in other states, like Dallas, you have a guy like Bobby Sox, who I talked to Christian the Hates about. He was a very peculiar guy. He was kind of like the G.G. Allen of Texas, but from Dallas. He has some amazing music he did in a band called Stickmen, Ray Gun and the Stickmen, or
dude, hold on. I
might be butchering the name. Stickmen with Ray Guns.
Yeah, Stickmen with Ray Guns.
Yeah, amazing stuff. And now in Austin, I know it's a little sore subject talking about Austin sometimes because I think we get jealous that all the bands we love go there and don't always come play here for our amusement.
Yeah,
dude,
yeah. But I mean, I personally love Austin because at least there's a place here for the bands to come and go, so we can, if they were all doing that in Dallas where it was 5 hours from us, it would suck. But at least Austin's relatively close, 2 hours and you can get there.
Yeah, and shout out to the bands like Mugger, and I know you know a bunch. Like you ask them to come to Houston, like they're like, okay, let's see if we can do it. And they come and they can play with like all sorts of cool local bands here. But getting into Austin, man, they've got their stuff, dude. Like Kill from the Heart by the Dicks. Like this is to me like a perfect record, like and Biscuit from the Big Boys, like, and then other bands like the Huns and like Austin just had such a cool scene. And it's great that we're Texas, so we kind of get stereotyped as being, far right rednecks and everything, like since forever. But you have these bands from Austin with two gay singers, right? Gary Floyd and Randy Biscuit Turner.
Yep.
And they probably can't see it from here, but in the corner, just right here, it's a flyer from Minor Threat's last show.
Oh, wow.
It's a poster, actually. And it shows you how important the Big Boys were because they asked them to come play.
Dude, that's awesome.
Go all the way up to Washington, D.C. for the last Minor Threat show.
Oh, that was in Washington?
Yeah.
Oh, man, that is pretty big deal. That's awesome.
Yeah, this was like an abandoned shopping mall where they did did this show. I'm not sure they knew at the time it was going to be their last show, but it was. But anyways, just have the big boys come all the way up
Man,
there.
what an incredible piece of history you got there, man. You've got some of the coolest stuff like that I've ever seen. And I haven't even really dug into your stuff. I've just seen photos and a few things that you've either sold me or traded me or whatever. But like, you've got some really great historical pieces of, I mean, shoot, you had stuff end up in the Punk Rock Museum. I mean, that's wild to me.
Yeah.
Dude,
That's always weird going there. I still, it's so funny. This thing that was in my closet for a long time. It's like there, but I remember when you went once. Was it when you went to see Jesse Michaels? And I think you took a picture.
I think it was.
Yeah. I was so happy. I was like, yeah.
Dude, I was like, what is it? You told me it was this negative approach button down. I was like, I'll find it, man. I went and found it. I'm like, dude, check it out, snap, dude.
Yeah.
Before we go much further about this Texas stuff, I do want to shout out the Hates, specifically the Hates, man. Christians, they're reworking this book about his life and about the life of the Hates. And tomorrow morning, oddly enough, I'm meeting them down at their practice space with my gear. I'm going to go take some photos, and hopefully I'll be doing the front and the back photos and the layout for his book. So,
so cool.
Excuse me. Cool. Dude, I'm honored to even be asked, because Colin does a lot of work with the Hate stuff. I mean, Christian is just turned 70. Colin's half that age or younger. So like, you know, he's doing a lot of legwork to keep that guy's legacy alive, and I think that's important. And I think Christian also would say this, you know, and I wouldn't say it if I didn't believe that, but you know, that band is really important. And as I get older, and the more I'm around, the more I do things, the more I realize how important they are. I was just telling my son, who doesn't know them really, he knows Colin a little bit, but not really, you know. And I said, you don't understand, man. I said, I used to be 19 years old, and I'd be down in Westheimer and Montrose at thrift stores shopping, and there was this gas station right there on the corner of Westheimer and Montrose, and I would see this dude drive by on a little moped with this giant mohawk, and I was like, that guy's cool. That was Christian from freaking the Hates, man. I've been seeing that guy since I was a kid, you know. And very important band here. But so what are some of your biggest I don't know if biggest influences is the right words, but what are some of your favorite Texas hardcore bands that maybe people wouldn't know about as much? I know the Big Boys and the Dicks are like, they're not huge bands, but at least in punk rock they're fairly well known. Do you have any?
So there's another great band from Austin. I think when you had a Butch from 30 Foot Fall on, I think he may have mentioned him if my brains can remember correctly. But there was a band called The Offenders that really good. I would advise everyone to go check out their catalog. It's readily available on most streaming services. And a new friend locally I've met that is a huge collector of Texas punk. He's taught me a lot about stuff like some more bands like the Ralphs and NCM. Like there's another band out of Dallas that has amazing, almost more to the power pop genre, but still in that punk hardcore movement. And they have an amazing song everyone should go hear called Ultimate Orgasm.
What's the band called? The Ralphs?
That's a different band. This is NCM.
NCM.
And the song's called Ultimate Orgasm.
I want to know all about this Ultimate Orgasm. It sounds like a good time to me.
You want to get in on that Ultimate Orgasm?
Only if it involves two other men. Man, people be like, is that guy joking? I can't tell. I'm like, you'll never know.
They're like, I think he means it.
My wife would be like, I'm got things to do, y'all, whatever. Leave me
she walks in with like a tray of pizza. She like walks right out. She's like, we'll talk later.
She'd be like, I'm so disappointed in you. You didn't even tell me. You didn't tell me you were partying.
So you can't go to any more shows with Kevin. No more.
Dude, I really like I like the Dicks quite a bit. Big Boys are an interesting band. Tell me a little bit about them, because like they have a lot of like weird funk stuff in their music. And shout out to my boy George, by the way. He loves that band, dude. George, what's up, dude?
Yeah. I remember you mentioning him at the museum when we were there, when we were looking at Austin stuff. Yeah. So it can be a challenging band. Like I tell people, there's a lot of bands when I was in my 20s or 30s I'd started listening to. I had to kind of fold the page in the book and say, I'll come back to this later. So Big Boys, there's for those who don't know, in Houston, there's like I think it's a few times a year now, but it's called You Ain't Punk, and it's like a show festival that I think different people handle it over the years. Right now, the drummer from Bickley, Dave, I think has it, and we did a big boy set for it.
Nice.
And we kind of use the more punk rock numbers, like real punk, even some of the hardcore songs like Brick Wall. But a lot of people, when they look into the big boys, they'll come across the funk songs or the soul songs, and they'll immediately get turned off because that's not what they were looking for. It's that stuff you have to learn to appreciate later.
That happened to me.
Yeah, like Fat Mike comments like often how he hates them because he doesn't like funk or he doesn't like the Red Hot Chili Peppers. And it's probably because he saw them at a period where they were maybe towards the end where they were playing more of the funk stuff when he was at the show. But if you go see him play, like I just don't know which way to go, Brick Wall, Fun, which should be like on every greatest hits punk comp ever. Then it kind of shows you their diversity, right? How they could do so many different styles of music. So it's like with any band, but because they were so mixed, I guess kind of like us, right? Like I can see if someone got a hold of a softer song. I remember when you were talking about with the gentleman that does the Houston Punk Fest, where he's like, oh, well, some of their songs were soft, and then some of it was like punk, and like I can see like if you don't get in on the right stuff you're looking for, it becomes challenging to you. Like the Minutemen and Husker Du are like real challenging bands to people that are looking for, hey, I read about this hardcore stuff like Minor Threat and Bad Brains and Black Flag, and then they hear like and like you're like, whoa, hold on.
Dude, I like the Minutemen, but Husker Du is one that I'm having a hard time with. I'm trying, man. I'll get there one day, maybe.
It took me to almost my late 30s to I was in the same way, like, and yeah, and remember a lot of those SST bands, their recordings were not so great, or at least for standards now, and they don't have control over their masters, and they can't remaster them. Like Husker Du's whole catalog, but there are records I don't like. I don't like New Day Rising. I like Flip Your Wig and some of the earlier stuff. It's a little harder, and when they were a faster band, it's like the Replacements. They started off like very fast, and they dwindle into like more of a band that would be on Friends or something like that.
Right.
So
I've always had this weird like relationship with bands in that exact like grouping, like Replacements, Minutemen, Husker Du, Jawbreaker. Yeah. They've always been like this. Part of it was insecurities on my part. I can admit that. It is what it is. I don't care. I'm middle-aged.
Yeah, sure.
But like it was always this pretentious like attitude seeping from within that group of people, not the bands. So not like just like their fans more or less, really more than the bands, right? Yeah. And so like I was already, before I even got there, I had an idea that I wasn't going to like them. I was already insecure enough to not want to dive in. I didn't have the courage to ask people that maybe weren't going to be pretentious that maybe I thought were going to be. So I didn't even have the courage to go ask them, hey, explain this to me, because I have my own problems, right? So there's this whole group of bands that I've always wanted to really like. I've always understood that they're objectively great bands. It has been so hard to get into them. Jawbreaker is one that I like at this point in my life.
Okay.
The Replacements, early stuff I like. Minutemen I don't have much experience with, and Husker Du has just been so hard for me to listen to. But people go, you like Leatherface a lot. I'm like, what does that mean? Like, I don't understand that comparison, but I don't know, man. It's weird. That's a good band, Leatherface.
Leatherface means so much to me. That's a very special band to me.
Yeah,
I saw them in 2009 at Chaos and Chaos in Austin, and another life-changing band when you see Frankie Stubbs play.
Dude, I have never seen them, and I probably won't, and I'm very jealous that you got to. What's your favorite Leatherface album?
Ooh, I like the last one, only because there was a lot of... It was called Stormy Petrel.
Oh, okay.
Let's see. Got it handy. Yeah. So.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, this was my favorite. Now the record that everyone's gonna cite as one of the best ever, and it is called Mush.
Yep.
That has like Springtime. You know, Hot Water Music, I think on the BYO record split they did with Leatherface, I think they cover Springtime, and that kind of got it out there more. Because check this out. The first time I could have seen Leatherface, I didn't. 2001 at Fitzgerald's, Propaganda did their humanitarian tour. Upstairs was Propaganda, J Church, Avail, and Fabulous Disaster.
Good grief.
Downstairs, dude, was Leatherface, Hot Water Music, and Small Brown Bike.
Oh, that's way better.
And
Sorry.
Yeah. So if I was there now, I would be on the downstairs for sure. But it was so packed, man. Like you had to pick. You were allowed to go back and forth, but it was not possible. I wouldn't have been surprised if Fitzgerald fucking busted it apart that night. Like, you remember how whenever you're at Fitz, if you're downstairs, you could see the floor buckle, and if you're upstairs, sometimes everyone talks about that. That night, I was like, shit my break,
dude, man. And, no, go ahead.
No. But that was just one of those nights. Avail was amazing. I had never seen them before.
I like Avail. That's a good band.
Yeah. Oh, they killed it. And but I remember listening years later as I was getting to Leatherface. I was like, oh fuck, that's the one I should have made it downstairs. But fortunately, I got to catch them on this record before I believe the drummer Dickie Hammond passed, or not the drummer, maybe it was the guitar player. He passed, and then I think Frankie just went solo. And I saw him do a solo set in Punk Rock Bowling at one of the pool party places one year.
Man, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was really cool. So he's still going, but I just not doing Leatherface.
Yeah, you think he plays Leatherface songs at these other shows that he does?
Yeah, he does. He's doing another band with Hugo Moody of the St. Catharines called Roach something.
Oh yeah, that band's awesome.
Yeah,
dude. What is that band called? It's called. Oh my goodness, bro.
Roach Squad.
Roach Squad.
Yeah, you probably can't see it very good because it's kind of more of an embossed cover, but.
That's a good band too.
Yeah, so that's a pretty cool record. He seems to be doing stuff with them now. And anyways, but that discovering stuff like that, it's just it changes your life for the better.
I love those bands where you hear them the first time, and the very first time you hear them, you're like,
it's like that.
Something's different. Actually, It's funny because that's not the right words. A band that happened that is still affecting me to this day. I also saw them in the early 2000s at Fitzgerald's, and it was downstairs because they had a big show that was like split, and I can't even remember who was playing the upstairs because downstairs was, I think it was a local band playing, and then it was One Man Army, and then the Necromantics, right?
Wow.
Yeah, and it was downstairs, so it was like way more intimate. Like the stage was only like 18 inches tall, so like you just walk up and put your arm around the guy and sing with him, right?
Yeah.
And, the first time I ever heard Women Army, I think it was Dead End Stories, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, great record, yes.
It's so good, man. I heard it and I just meant like, oh, these guys do like punk rock, but it's different. Like it's not the same. And I was like, I like this. And then my brother was actually like, hey, I'm gonna go see the Necromantics. You want to go with me? And I was like, yeah, dude, I'll go see the Necromantics, dude. And he was like, yeah, it's like $8 or some nonsense. And I was like, sweet, dude. Who's playing with them? And he goes, One Man Army. And I was like, yo, I don't even give a shit about Necromantics, bro. I was like, I like that band, and they were great. But like, One Man Army played like 35 minutes nonstop, no breaks. And the songs sound, like, if you listen to them on their record, it's probably the same with most hardcore bands too. You hear them on the record and you're like, oh, I can see how this is like the tempo is pretty good. Like it's got a good BPM, and it's pretty quick. And you go see them play it live, and the same exact songs sound completely different, man. It's interesting.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think that's a good explanation of that band.
Right. Yes. Yeah. For sure, that band. That's one of the things that I want to know about Leatherface. I bet they sounded completely different live. Like they probably had a different energy pumping through the air.
Yeah, they were really good. And not to get too far into it, but what was funny was everyone wanted them to play longer because this was kind of a festival, Chaos and Taos, in these different venues. This one was at Emo's, and everyone was wanting them longer, and and people got kind of mad when Dillinger 4 came on because they were closing out the show, right? And I think the D4 tried to go give them more of their time, but it was too late. So like they went on, but it was just life affirming. You see a band that you love so much on a record, and then they're that and more when you see them live. Like they deliver. It's just.
You know who did that to me one time? That was like when I saw them play live. I already loved them, and then when I saw them play, because I've only seen them one time,
Yeah,
I think it was transformative too. I got really excited one year. I think it was at Fun Fest, or it might have been Austin City Limits, but I think it was Fun Fest. But it was Against Me was like the headliner, but Murder City Devils played right before them.
all right.
Murder City Devils is one of my favorite bands. I don't talk about it as much as I should, man. I should play that band more often on the channel, but like that's a band that I would like to interview one day and like talk to, because I don't know much about them, but that music is that's a band that's a good example of like a punk band that stands out on their own. Like there is no other band that sounds like them. There's bands that kind of have similar tones to a degree, but they don't sound like MCD, man. But I watched them play and it was like they sounded really good, man. And it was like I don't know, man. I watched them just standing there like, for 45 minutes just out on this grass. Like it was amazing.
Oh, I bet. Yeah. No, there were those bands like you'd be honored to play with them, but once you're there, you wouldn't want to go on after them for sure.
Shoot, no, man. I wouldn't even want to perform in front of them and make them watch me play my shitty music.
Yeah.
Bro, that's no.
Yeah, MCD was awesome. Yeah.
Such a good band, dude. Such a great band. Okay, well we're about hitting an hour. Before we get out of here, man, give me a little lowdown on Valhalla Cinema. What do you guys got planned for the next, say, 6 months or so? What are your goals? What's this new EP sound like?
So cool. So we're finishing up this 12-inch EP split that we're doing with Lonesome Haunts. We're about to begin mixing soon. I think we were finishing up some guitar parts, and we're almost there. We were debating whether to try to sneak in a show before the year was up or not. But I think what I discovered was in Houston we have help me, Randy, is it the Weekender?
Yes, the Winter Weekender. Winter
Weekender. That's what I can remember. And so for those of you who don't know, that's an amazing festival. And so when we were looking into it, we're like, man, if all these great bands are coming in and that's the time, like, let's just work on our EP and go enjoy that show. Like, so I think that festival, like, I mean, you got Bets on Our May, you got another great Houston band we didn't talk about earlier, Pack Mentality.
Yes, you got Pack Mentality.
Yeah, you got Bullshit Detector coming down, Noise, so many great bands on it.
Slugger,
yeah, Liberty and Justice, so many great bands. So my band got to talking about on our text thread. We're like, because we kept thinking like, well, do we do a show the day before, like on Wednesday? And like we were coming up with all these wild scenarios to fit a show in at the end of the year. And we're like, nah, man, let's get our stuff done and go enjoy seeing all these bands that we love. And so for the rest of the year, we're going to finish out the EP. Going into the next part of the year, hopefully we'll have this sucker ready from the pressing plants, maybe right after the holidays, or it could even go into February. We'll see what works. And then we're trying to organize a tour maybe with Lonesome Haunts to just kind of go show our wares and get around all of Texas, out of state, and we'll see what goes from there. We'd like to we really are aiming for next year to play out of town more and just kind of get out and go see some new people and some new faces and enjoy, getting to play in other people's scenes here and there. So that would be kind of the goal. I think in Texas, there's so much great stuff going on, but in other states, there's all sorts of great stuff. And like you said, it seems like there's so much great stuff going on outside of the U.S. right now with like Europe, Canada, and Italian bands,
France, Italy, Spain,
Canada,
Mexico. Dude, there's so many places right now that are just booming. It's a little overwhelming, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, like whenever you're showing new bands and stuff, I'm just like, When we were at Punk Rock Bowling in Las Vegas in late May, I remember a line wrapped around where the pool show was going to be, and granted, TBR was playing it, so I understand there's a big line of people there. But Beton Arme was on that show, and I watched some videos people had posted for that, and man, I got to think a lot of those people were there to see Beton Arme from what I could tell on that line. So there's so much cool stuff, not just in the US but elsewhere happening right now, and always in the UK. Like, didn't you see High Viz recently in Austin? And
dude, man, look, that band converted me. I wasn't even a fan of them, dude. I went up there to go film some stuff for Bullshit Detector because I was making a music video for them, which should be out by Monday.
Awesome.
And then I wanted to see Radioactivity once I was aware that they were on the bill because I like that band. I can't remember who introduced me. It was either you or Nitty because both of you guys love that band.
Yeah,
but I really like them too. I've even uploaded some of their stuff to my channel. But High Viz, I was like, they're a popular band, and everybody seems that the guys in the band were really nice. And I was like, let me check them out, man. There's no sense in leaving early. Dude, like 2 songs in, I was like, oh, this is a band that I'm probably going to like now because I saw them play live. There's a lot of bands that I don't like that I wish I'd seen live because I probably like, dude.
Yeah.
Not to bring up Husker Du again, but I bet if I was around when they were playing live, I probably would have been a fan of that band.
So that's one band that does actually have good 80s footage, like even them playing in England and stuff. And that was another thing that kind of got me over was once I started seeing live footage, I was like, man, these guys just fucking smoke it. But sometimes it's either or. Like, I remember you and I were having like a funny debate. Like, I'm like, man, the new Alligator 7 inch is like my favorite thing of the year. And on your show, you're like, yeah, it's cool, but I kind of like the new Claim Choice record. And I was like, I got to see what he's talking about right now. And so I went to it, listened to it. And I was like, yeah, I Claim Choice's record is pretty damn good.
Dude, this year's top
I bought
10
it at your store. Yeah.
Is going to be hard because there are some bangers. If you go all the way back to freaking January, you're like, oh, I forgot all about this record. There's so much stuff that came out this year that was like top tier.
Yeah.
Man. And then I got like 4 releases out, and I'm super biased to that stuff. I love everything I put out. I don't understand how anybody puts out a record for something they don't absolutely love. So like everything I touched that's got my name on it, I'm like, no, this is amazing. I think this is a no skip, or I wouldn't have done it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. One thing I wanted to say before I forget, we were real lucky to add a second guitar player to our band, and I think we needed it to kind of enrich our sound a little bit. I just wanted to be sure to mention him because this record will be our first recordings with Brandon, who is our rhythm guitar player now, but he's also the drummer for the Bar Rats. And you guys around Houston are familiar with him because he's always slinging all these good hot sauces that he makes for different events and such. And I also, before we go, I wanted to say condolences to the Bailey family, Fugazi, and Rich's wife Terry. I know this weekend there's a kind of a memorial show, I believe, at Black Magic Social Club, and Fugazi folks were always great to Valhalla Cinema. They would, help us with shows and stuff, and not always just serve people great food, but they would help the bands a lot. I remember seeing them at shows like for years. So
to be clear, you're saying Fugazi. So just so people know that we're not saying Fugazi, because at first I thought that's what you said. But yes, dude, condolence to that family, man. That guy just out of nowhere passed, man. That was shocking.
I saw him at the Hate show, out there. I went and bought food from his wife, Terry, and I feel unfortunate. So everyone, when you see your friends, go say hi to him, because I regret that I didn't go venture over there and, chit chat and like, hey, how's it going? And so who knows last time, you'll see someone. So condolences to that family, and, just really love and enjoy your friends while they're here, man.
Absolutely. Speaking of that unfortunate incident, Poppers lost their drummer recently as well.
That was awful.
I only bring that up because today randomly I got their box of CDs in, so they're here. I'll be listening to them on the Bandcamp, but they have another record that they're recording right now as well. So, like you said, man, when your friends are around, go hang out with him. Go give him a big hug, because I got a comment on a video about him passing away, and I thought it was a poor taste joke, and I got all over the person that said it, and they were like, "No, you didn't hear, dude. This is from his mother." And I was like, "What?" I mean, it totally,
wow.
dude, it was insane, man. Like, and I wasn't like best friends with him, but Michael was, and that's a friend of mine. So like, it was like it hit me in a weird way, man. But yeah. So I want to get out of here, but I want to end on a much more high note than that, because somber stuff is cool and all, but
Sure.
it puts people in a weird headspace. So what are some of your favorite bands right now? Give me just a quick list of some of the stuff you've bought recently, stuff that you're really, really enjoying. I know the Alligators is one. If people don't know who that is, that's Roger Merritt from the Agnostic Front.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
Like a throwback, like sounds like early Agnostic Front almost. But what's the stuff you're jamming right now, Kevin?
So Mugger from Austin, Texas has a new EP out, and it's they've just released one track from it. But if you didn't get their full length that came out earlier in the year called Luck Forever, be sure to get that. Gosh, man, First Attack, I got your store, which I believe is the singer from Bishop's Green. That's amazing record. And goodness, I'm trying to think of more current stuff. Gosh, like you mentioned earlier, the Claim Choice record. I got that from you. That's amazing record. So for me, I also, to mention stuff that's really passionate to me that I've discovered now or more currently that I go to is The Fix from Lansing, Michigan, and that Detroit sound. Like, that band is like my everything right now. I love listening to their 2 old 7-inches, which have recently be re-released on a compilation. But gosh, man, I think so much of the stuff I've bought from you, like, and learning a lot about this Coldaway stuff, like Homefront and
yeah, Homefront's amazing.
Oh man, dude! Now you got me thinking about all the other bands, like
Bullshit Detector, Bethon Armé. They've all released stuff this year. It's crazy, man. That new Homefront song is insane.
Oh yeah.
So good, man.
Yeah,
there's a lot of great music out there.
Yeah, now it's a good time to be alive. It's like with all the garbage that's going on in the world right now, and all the just hate and division and everything. It's nice to have some moments of joy where you can listen to music and kind of get back in touch with your heart and your soul and the things you believe in, and that's what music does for us. So,
right. Well, I think people need to take what you just now said and go invest some time in some physical media, not necessarily in my place, just anywhere where you're at.
Get out there. Yeah,
dude, I'm telling you.
Yeah, COVID's over. Like,
right.
Go to record stores, go to band shows, buy their, instead of buying instead of buying lousy beer and cigarettes, pick up a record from the band, or go see the music. Like, go be there. Invest in those things.
I'm afraid that we're going to be back to physical media as the primary source of listening to music if we don't watch what we're doing, man. Just like, not trying to get like political, just like, things are a mess, man. I cherish my albums at this point, and I'm like, man, I didn't even used to think about this anywhere near as much even 6 months ago. And as of late, I've been just kind of thumbing through what I've got and just being like, man, sure, I'm glad I have this. Like, just there's no telling, but
I've gotten where some stuff I still save for the physical media for listening for the first time. I'm like, oh, Randy Shody's got that record. I think I'm gonna go get that record, and I'm just gonna listen to it on my turntable first, and then of course, then after that, I go for walks and stuff, walk my dog. I'll stream it and all that stuff or whatever. But I love discovering stuff first and then getting it on the turntable. And like you said, I think physical media may be the way we go back to a large degree.
Right.
Especially with the music we love,
No, like, especially with this kind of music, because I do fear that, like, the freedom of speech, at the risk of sounding kind of corny, like, it's at risk of being a thing we don't have anymore. Like, at least to the degree we currently do. Like, who knows what's going to happen? I hope that we're all just worried for nothing, but
and one more song that's coming out on this EP. It's called Fuchsia Bricks. It's all about what we just described there. It's about meeting people to get records, hearing their stories, and if you ever acquire a collection from someone that's passing it on because they're moving on with their life or whatever, talk to them about their records and what the bands they saw in the day. It'll blow your mind, some of the stories I've heard, and make like paint fall off the wall. And so that's what we wrote the song Fuchsia Bricks about on the CP as well. So like really go out there and like meet your music, you know.
I can't wait to hear this music. I've heard a little bit of it, and I want to hear it like in its finished, completed form. But yeah, man, I look forward to it. It's going to be a good Q4 and Q1. The next 6 months will be fun, man. I think we got a lot of good stuff coming, just in Houston and through your band, and hopefully through my label. We'll see what's happening.
Yeah, shout out to all the bands on 31 Records. Like Randy's got one of the best, most diverse labels.
Oh, thank you, man.
I think about Before Dawn. You make the leap from listening to them to like Bullshit Detector and Poppers.
Static Friction, bro.
Static Friction, yeah, of course.
Shut up, those
Boston,
guys, man.
From Boston, right? Yeah, that's an amazing record. Generation Exit,
dude.
How could we talk about Texas punk and we didn't mention Chris Klink? Yeah, of course. Like Generation Exit, the split you put out, I guess, with Mark Lind as well. That's tremendous, man. That's a must-have, people, if you don't own that record.
Dude, when people are asking me about Mark Lind, I'm like, no, dude, he's the singer of that band Ducky Boys. I always get that's the same guy. I'm like, yeah, man. I'm like, look, dude, I just got asked to throw some cash in on this. I just have like an exclusive color, but like these are my friends, dude. I love that music, man. Like that's my part of it, is that they're my friends. Like I want to prop them up however I can because of they're just like with the Hates and Poppers and Valhalla Cinema and anybody from Houston for sure. Was it Necrotones?
Necrotones are great. Yeah.
So well, I had a good time talking with you, dude. I have an idea for another episode. I'll shoot to you a text later.
Sure.
I actually wish I'd thought about this before because it's going to make for a really fun conversation. But dude, thank you for hanging out, man. This is awesome. I've been wanting to talk to you on here for a long while.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Randy. This is awesome. I had a good time.
Hell yeah, dude. We'll talk again on the show and otherwise. But if you got anything else you need to say?
Oh, man, everyone be good to each other and forgive and enjoy and love people while they're here as much as you can.
Very, very good advice. So you guys know what to do, man. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Check out my Patreon if you don't mind. If you don't have to, if you don't want, of course. But all the links to Valhalla Cinema stuff will be in the description of this video. Please go support that band and support your local punk rock scene. All right, guys. We'll see you next time on the Punk Rock Review. Peace.